Hey everybody, happy Wine Wednesday. We're very, very late. It's all my fault. Well, it's the computer's fault, but we won't go there. But I apologize if anyone was waiting. But here we're here now. And I've got Holly, Ray, and Cheryl with me as usual. They come every week, such loyal Seahorse people. And if you're in the chat, feel free to ask any questions or share anything. I know I did get some videos from one of the people that talked a few weeks ago that we'll play in a little bit. But I'm on a different computer, so bear with me because like I said, my computer just I'm not working today, and I had to use a different one. So that's why I look kind of funny, and that's why whatever we're not on Instagram today. But aside from all my chaos, happy Wine Wednesday. I hope your tanks, your seahorses, and your lives are just fantastic. We were chatting as I tried to get everything going before, and everyone seems to have had a crap week. Or well, Ray, did you have a good week?
I guess just the normal one.
Yeah,
I'm just frustrated that we're back in a cold cycle again, going down to about 23 Fahrenheit tonight. It's already below freezing out there right now. Snowing last night, snowing today. And on the weekend, I want to get all my tomatoes and peppers and other stuff out in the garden on the weekend. So hopefully that'll be the end of everything. Normally, for us, we're considered to be frost-free on the 24th of May. But I usually push the boundaries a little bit, start ahead of time. And if I do lose stuff, I always have stuff to back up to plant again if I have to.
Well, that's good.
Ray, do you remember Beth Garrity or Garrity Sebo, Pika's Ponies?
What was that?
Pika's Ponies, Beth on Seahorse.org.
No, I can't say I remember.
She was the one that was raised in Reedi here in the States.
No, I don't
What
know.
about her, Cheryl?
Okay. Well, anyway, she always starts her veggies. She has these huge shelves, and she starts all her vegetables and flowers and everything early in the spring while there's still snow on the ground, and she grows them inside until she can finally move them outside.
Yeah, I started them in January.
Yeah, that's what she does.
Yeah.
Well, I just kicked my house plants out for the second time this season, so hopefully they'll get to stay. I've seen it snow here in May, but it's pretty rare.
Man, I'll tell you, I am sick of it going hot, cold, hot, cold. But the box I'm holding up, y'all, I don't want to show the addresses or anything, but Kelly got her char chambers. Thank you so much.
Is that Aquachar?
Yep. Well, it's the char chambers. Remember Robert King came on?
Yeah,
okay.
Robert made, yeah.
I'm going to put a wine through it to purify it.
I will. I didn't open it until Wine Wednesday because I wanted to unbox it with you guys. But we can talk while I'm doing that. I just wanted to tell you guys that I got it.
I think she didn't hear what I said.
What? What'd you say?
You're going to pour your wine through the Aquachar chamber.
Oh, no, I did not hear what you said. No, I'm not going to do that. Hi, Shyla. Hi, Heather. Hey, guys. It's just open chat. I am going to show you the char chambers when I open them in a minute. But other than that, we're talking plants. We're talking seahorses. Whatever you want to talk. Any questions, ask them.
Speaking of shipping, Kelly, this was the day last year that Aphrodite arrived.
Oh, no kidding. So it's my 1-year anniversary with her. Awesome.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that on my Facebook today. I have a video of you opening her up. Opening the package.
I wish. I'm using a wine opener to open this. That's really classy. But I was going to say, I wish I was so good at dates like you. I guess I need to start keeping that notebook.
Well, I write stuff down, and also there's Facebook memories to remind me.
Right. That's true.
Where'd you put your hand that you shouldn't have, Holly?
Oh, bacon grease.
Oh.
Yeah, that was Saturday morning.
You were not awake.
Oh, I was actually pretty awake. I was multitasking. I was moving something with one hand, and I had a pan with bacon in the other hand, and the grease sloshed over onto this pan. And I had just burned my finger the week before on my charcoal chimney when I was grilling. So at least I had all the medicines on hand. I had
Right.
herb gel and aloe and
Have you
all
got
that.
insurance too?
Yeah, but I didn't. It's not that bad. I didn't have to go for treatment. It takes
We
care
just
of it.
need to keep you away from anything that's hot.
I guess so. You know what? It's funny because the first time I haven't burned myself in years, but when I burned myself on the charcoal chimney, it was a few days after I was visiting a friend of mine, and he works in a brewery, and he had just burned his hand on the hot glue machine that glues boxes together. So he had a bunch of burn gel at his house, little packets, and he gave some to me, and he said, "You never know when this is going to come in handy. Here, you should keep some." And then I burned myself 3 days later. I hadn't burned myself in years.
He
You
jinxed
have to understand, having worked as a paramedic like I have, I
Uh-huh.
am always very careful about all this stuff. And I'm always getting on people about, you don't want to do it that way. That's stupid.
Right.
You know, and I have no qualms about saying, don't do it that way because I've seen so many people injured just doing what would be normal routine
Right.
procedure.
Okay, listen, I'm cutting you off because I care very much about your hand, and that was funny, Holly. But I saw tiny hands here, and Kelly, I just opened. I got my char chambers. I just opened them live, so not very exciting. I used the wine opener to open the box, but it comes with instructions, and it's very clear. Robert King's clownfish. Run the filter for 15 minutes in a container of RODI water to flush out sediment prior to use. Run filter at a low setting to maximize efficiency. When adding or replacing media, be careful not to pull on the rigid tubing. A lot of like very detailed instructions. 50% media replacement should be done at 6 month intervals if needed. And it tells you how to replace things. And then it has his contact information and literally, like an image showing you what's what. And it's really well packaged, you guys. Like this is beyond bubble wrap. This is
Oh, it's wrapped.
Oh,
big
they
time.
did do a nice job with that.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, it looks so simple, but how I can't wait. I can't, and I gotta learn the mechanisms. Like Tyann might have to show me how to replace the aquachar. But as I work with these, I got two. Thank you to Kevin again. One I think is 40 gallon, and one is 20 and one is 30 gallon, I think, or 10 and 30 or something like that. Can't remember.
Okay.
But they're different size, and he can make them. Robert King's clownfish, he can make them on demand. I'm gonna play with these and learn more about them and share with you guys. Maybe try to make some videos, but they're very cool. It's got the sponge on the bottom, the aquachar inside. The airline, the rigid airline, is what's gonna make it go through the aquachar so that the debris stuff doesn't settle. And there's holes on the top. It's very well made, very nice. I'm excited to play with it and let you guys know what I think, but I'm pretty sure that I'll love it. So we'll see how it does on the tank. I know there are some people that have used this to literally seed a tank because aquachar works that way. If you need to know more about aquachar, let us know in the comments. We did a Wine Wednesday with aquachar and with Robert King also. Google or search for those. But anyways, I'll play with it and I'll let you guys know what I think. I'm trying to decide. In fact, let me know in the comments. My original plan was to try to literally start a tank with it, but I wouldn't have seahorses in it. It'd be just a tank that I was pretending there were seahorses in the hopes that I have babies soon. So I was going to try to use one to see how well it actually does seed using like ammonia. And then I was thinking of maybe even starting up a culture like Holly's done with the Rebel Rock, and Robert has talked about how he's used these in cultures and they work really well. So let me know what you want to see me do because I'm going to play with these and try to find new ways to use them. So let me know what you want to see.
Bring up ammonia to 10 parts per million and put one of those in and tell me how long it takes to clear it.
Okay.
I'm kidding with you.
She might accidentally put 10 parts per million.
Right. Knowing me.
I've been there, done that.
But no doubt.
Yeah, I just think they're really well packaged. I already use aquachar. In fact, if you guys go to the Aquachar website, I'll put a link when we're done. But use the code Seahorse Whisperer, you get 15% off your first order. So they're a sponsor of the channel, and we love Aquachar, but now I get to play with the Char Chamber. I'm really excited. So thank you again to Kevin and Robert King for making these cool inventions. I had played with ideas when I was talking with Brian Covey, the co-owner of Aquachar. I was trying to put Aquachar into one of those internal filters, like into the sponge in the internal filter that has the spray bar that comes out. I've shown it before, but it was like not working as well, as efficiently as I would have liked. And I think that Robert King really is onto something with having the airflow go through it. I think that's really wise. So anyways, really excited about that. And Tyann, I missed your live stream. I'm so sorry, but I will be coming in the future. Holly, did you go last week?
No, I didn't. I was helping my friends move last few days. So yeah, I missed it.
We suck, but no, I suck.
I saw the one before that she did on Thursday, I think. I saw that one, but not the Tuesday one yesterday. I was busy.
Well, so we'll be at the next one though, but we appreciate you. And anyways, I just wanted to let you guys know I got them. And because Kevin was checking up on it, and they're very cool. Can't wait to use them, and let me know what you would like to see me test out with these bad boys. Yeah, really well made. I'm impressed. I'm excited. Yay. All right. I'm done with my spiel. What else is going on, guys?
Maybe if you pour that wine through it, it'll make it non-alcoholic.
Ray wants me to clear it with wine. Don't think I can do that.
Run your booze through Aquachar, and you will no longer have a hangover.
No, well, that's something I totally want to test. Anyways, Holly, are you still using the Aquachar?
Yeah, I have the same Aquachar in both tanks. Actually, I haven't done anything with it. It's still there. I do now remember to rinse it after we talked about that, because I'd been forgetting to rinse it. So now I rinse it when I do the water changes.
Right.
But I'm sitting in now. This is the Tiki Lounge where I have my grow out tank. And I was telling Cheryl before we went live that my friend was staying in this room previously that we'd kind of talked about before, and they moved out. So now I got my room back, and I can watch the seahorses in the grow out tank, because I haven't been watching them really lately because I kind of gave up the room. So I was sitting here waiting for us to start and watching them do their little seahorse stuff, and they're so cute and fun to watch. I see my display tank all the time because it's in the living room next to my couch. So I've seen those guys a lot lately, but not these guys. And they're just adorable.
Can you show us?
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
I don't know. I can try, but their light is out. I don't know how well you can see. Is that light enough?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so there's a couple. Most of them now they're getting ready for bedtime. So there's a bunch hanging up here on the return nozzles.
They're like bats. They're hanging upside down.
Yeah. Then I got.
Hers always do that. Mine never hang upside down.
Her favorite spot. This is Princess. She's in her castle over here. I don't know if you can see, because I'm on the other side of the camera, so I can't see what you're seeing.
Oh, we can see her. Oh, I should have made.
I think my most favorite one recently was Heather was talking about how her juveniles and stuff are eating really well, and I posted back about and they get to know you. Once they get to know you, they all come up to the front, because here's this giant retarded basically seahorse that's huge, and then you come up, and just when we're getting ready to take more food, you suck it all out.
Yep. Oh man,
yeah.
I got hack now.
I couldn't help
saw
that
something
one.
interesting in my display tank. Dandy was having a bad day. I had to rescue him a couple times, because sometimes he has a day where his motor skills are worse than others. And
Mm.
it's almost like he has a palsy, like he'll get into a cramped position, and he'll be stuck between a couple things or something. So I had to pick him up and rescue him a few times and help him get to food and that sort of thing. But he didn't make it to one of the meals. He had missed a meal and wasn't too much late, maybe like an hour later. So all the other seahorses had eaten, and he showed up to his dish, and his girlfriend Sadie came also. So I went and got his food and fed him. And I was watching them, and I thought Sadie was going for his food, but she wasn't. She was full. And I figured out watching what she was doing was pointing out the best pieces
trying to
to
work
him.
that out. Yeah.
She was
Really?
helping him. Yeah,
Aw.
it was so
And
amazing to see.
Well, the really amazing thing is that a seahorse was full. I've never had a seahorse.
Yeah. Well, they had just eaten,
Yeah.
they just had their
Yeah.
meal.
the thing is, it always amazes me how so many people think fish are stupid, non-sentient species.
Mm.
Ever watch orca group of orcas hunting or maternal care from any one of the large whales, humpback, whatever? The way, I mean, they will actually move under the newborns and lift them up to the surface to ensure that they get air as they're swimming.
Wow.
Now that takes that's a lot more than just something that's reproducing and doesn't give a darn.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure.
But
And
also, whales are mammals, so people expect that more,
Right.
from mammals, but you
Right.
see it in fish too.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
The more I watch the seahorses and see, what they're actually doing, you're like, oh, she's helping him.
Yep.
exactly.
Absolutely. They have personalities. They have little relationships, and they have little lives for sure. Hey, Ray, before I forget, are you still wanting or considering rehoming your seahorses?
Yep.
Devin came on last week. The guy that I told you, if
Yeah.
anyone could do it, he could do it. He was on the live stream last week, and right after you left, I was like, I can't believe I didn't pick it up. So, but anyways, I of course,
Where does he live?
Canada. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but where? Canada's a big place.
That's true. That's true. I don't know exactly, to be honest, but he asked me to message him, and this is my reminder because, as I said, it was a blah week. Aside from getting my char chambers, this week sucked. So, but I will. I'm going to remember now. I'm going to message him right afterwards because he answered properly too, because I talked with Devin a year or two ago, and he was interested in doing seahorses. He also had pipefish in his reef tank, so that was interesting, but he was interested in doing more with seahorses. So when I talked to him last week, he asked all the right questions. Like, yeah, I'm still interested, but tell me the species. Give me some, I want to research. He wants to learn more and know that he can do it before he takes it on. So I thought that was.
Tell him
Are
to
these your abs that you're
message me on Facebook.
I will. I won't forget. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I did forget. But I won't.
If you lived in the U.S., I'd take them, but
I'm-
I'm not going to
What was that?
play around with crossing borders. That's for darn sure.
Not right now, anyways, for sure.
No.
Cheryl, guys, I do want to definitely spend some time because Danny, we call him Fat Boy Seahorse, with the very rounded seahorse. He sent me another video, so I want to play that in a minute. And he sent me some more information. Someday we'll get him to come in live, but until he's comfortable with that, I'll relay the information. But before we do that, Cheryl, anything new with your seahorses? Any new babies? Any new cool things going on?
I'm just right now kicking back, trying to take care of myself
Right.
and the seahorses, and I'm not worrying too much about fry right now. The thing is, I've got multiple tanks set up, but I'm also rearranging because I have a DSA 65 and a DSA 58 sitting in my living room that are reef ready. And so I'm moving tanks out, my older tanks that basically I had to hang on backs filters on. I'm getting rid of those and moving my drilled tanks into the back room for the seahorses because I just drilled tanks are so much easier to work with.
I'm surprised you still
Yeah,
have
I
any
wish I had
tanks.
another one instead of the grow out tank. The original one broke, if you guys remember. So
Yeah.
I got a 75-gallon and I got two hang on backs, to drain into the sump. And they're a pain to clean. I can't really
Yes,
clean
they
them.
are.
You have to
The
take it
thing
apart.
is, it's like my nursery systems. I have three separate nursery systems, and their total water volume between the two tubs and the sump is close to 70 gallons. Well, that is a decent sized nursery system. And I've grown out I can have even up to 20 juveniles in the 3-inch range in those without any problems. And it's one of those things where I don't care to deal with overflow boxes anymore. That was a
I
long
don't
time
blame
ago.
you.
Well, that's
And
why
I
it's
feel the same way, but I have to deal with them.
right.
yeah,
Sometimes you don't have a choice. But Cheryl, what were you doing with the tanks with the hang on backs or overflows? What were or hang on
they were seahorse tanks that I've had set up for years, but
with the stuff in them?
I really don't like them. They're a pain because you continually have to watch, make sure that you don't get air in the U tubes, and
Yep.
it's just whereas with a drill tank, life is so much easier because the only thing you have to do is cover the overflow to make sure somebody doesn't get flushed into the filter sock, and
Right.
they're just so much easier to deal with. Plus the fact. Uh, One things I do is I run cooling fans in the summer months. Otherwise, I'd have to keep my house below 50 when it gets up into the 90s and hundreds here.
Right.
And so I run blower fans on my over my sumps, which are my son just walked in with groceries.
That's
Uh,
okay.
but the thing is, the blower fans I can just run them across the sumps, floor mount them. I never have to worry about anything falling into a tank and electrocuting a tank or myself or anything else. And it's just over the years I've gotten down to easier care, so to speak.
Yep. As you go, you learn the ways that it's
Yeah,
easiest and everything. My idiot self, I went from, a 29-gallon with too many seahorses that was beautiful, full of macros, but then I ended up adding a sump. You're right about those overflow boxes. They are a pain in the butt. Like, I mean, I'm telling you, I don't know if like my pump wasn't equal to like the return, or I don't know, but there would be air in that tube every freaking week. I mean, every week I was
yeah.
having to clear it,
Well,
and that's scary because it'll overflow your tank.
yeah. The thing is, I didn't have that problem because I was running higher flow, so it kept the air bubbles out, unless you had a power outage.
Right. Exactly. Yep. See, it's just, yeah.
And
It's
I'm at the point I don't want to have to wake up in the middle of the night and go, oh my God, the power went out. I need to go check and see if I have air bubbles in my YouTube. It's not cutting it for me anymore.
well,
And
and nowadays, I mean, to be real though, nowadays they've got these sophisticated, alarm systems and
oh yeah,
controllers, Apex and all that stuff. So it's not as big of a deal, but it is more work. For instance, I went off in outer space and didn't finish my sentence. I went from the 29-gallon, added the sump. Then, I had a bunch of smaller, like 30, 55, 30-gallon tanks in the bedroom with different species of seahorses, right? And the piebalds were in a 29, I think. And then as I started having fry from the Erectus, I set up the 65-gallon, but it wasn't drilled. I was in a rush to do it. I had fry that were too big. They were outgrowing the system I had them in because when I first started raising fry, I didn't know all this crazy tubs and tubes and,
yeah.
all the cool things that we've learned from Cheryl and Dan. So I just had them in like literally a little 5 or 10 gallon tank. And with all those Seahorse,
Hey, over 17 years ago, that's what I started out with is my
right.
nursery. And
Well,
my
and
kitchen counter.
That's what
My
mine
kitchen
got
counter.
raised in.
yeah,
From
exactly.
10
You can do
gallon
it.
to 29, and then the grow out tank finally.
Now my nursery systems are roughly 70 gallons.
Yeah, I know. But wait, so what I was gonna say is they're in these smaller tanks, and it's just like you were saying, Cheryl, so much more work. You can do it, but it's just a lot more work.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, Heather, we need you to get in here one week and tell us more about your expansion in the sea shed and tell us more about that. But anyways, back to, I keep getting wandered. So 65 gallon, I was in a rush to do it. I needed a tank right away. I had to buy one locally because I didn't have time to wait because I was started losing fry because they were getting so big in this small tank that even all the maintenance was not working anymore. I was losing them. And so got the 65 gallon and it wasn't drilled. And so I had to deal with the stupid YouTube stuff and the overflow. I mean, it worked. That's the tank that has the algae scrubber and the huge skimmer and all that. It works, but it's just, then I finally ended up, when they got too big for that tank, then I got the 90 SCA, and that is drilled, and it was so much easier. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I have video. It wasn't a pretty tank because it was just my adolescence growing up. So it was very much bare, just, um, fake plants and stuff and chains, but it was easy to care for. Then my dummy self trying to prove a point. Now I'm trying to do the 40 gallon all in one. And let me tell you, trying to clean those chambers in the back, trying to get your arm in there.
It ain't gonna happen.
Narrow stuff.
It ain't going there. No.
That's the problem with my overflow boxes is it's so narrow, and mine are newer. They're different design than you're talking about with the tubes. They don't have a tube thing going on. It's a slot. It's like a whole molded
The thing
plastic
is, too,
slot, but my fingers don't fit in there. I can stick like a bottle brush down there, but it doesn't get everything. A toothbrush is too fat.
Yep.
Well,
it-
if it ain't easy, if it ain't easy and it ain't big and it ain't
Sorry, guys.
caring for itself, it's not coming in here in a tank.
Well, I understand that rule. I'll probably have that rule in the future myself.
Right.
But
You're
my
living there, right?
tank literally broke.
The thing is,
My
I've been at this.
80-gallon tank broke.
I've been
And
at
I
this
had
so
to run
long.
out and buy a tank. And then there's no overflow boxes sold anywhere near where I live. So I still had to wait almost 2 weeks.
I got
for
some
the
overflow
boxes to
I got some overflow boxes I can send you. Everything that requires an overflow and the overflow boxes are going bye-bye. That's what I've been in the process of doing for months now, is slowly getting rid of all of that and just going strictly with reef-ready tanks. And
Yeah.
some of them have overflow boxes. Some of them have basically the tubes similar to my nurseries. And it depends on whether they're grow out tanks, nursery tanks, or adult tanks. And each one is designed for a different age group.
Yep. No, but well, I do have to say this. Anybody who comes or watches this later, the whole entire point is live and learn, right? So if you're just starting out and you just want a Seahorse tank and you don't want all the complicated machinery and all this, you can do it.
Can do it.
Do it. It's doable. I did it. We've all done it. We kind of forget sometimes when we start talking about, these extensive ways of doing things, and it is better for sure, but it doesn't mean you can't start off slow and do it the way you want to do it.
Yeah.
So definitely don't ever think we're saying that.
And my juveniles, the first ones I raised were literally in a 29 gallon that I had to change every day on that tank, but they survived. I would have loved to have nice filtration and everything for it, but that was all I had at the time.
Right.
And it worked.
Well, I'm going to give you an example.
Wait. That's the other thing is that if you're not interested in raising fry, you would never even have to worry about going this deep into this stuff. Overflow boxes are still going to suck. But like in my all-in-one, I got one specifically. I had a choice between one that was long. I really wanted the cube looking one because I thought it'd be cool. But I realized that the compartments were not as wide and much longer. Like the tank was taller. So I ended up getting shorter one with my compartments in the back are 5x5. So I can fit a lot of stuff back there. It's not great, but it's better than the ones that are 3x2.5, and very long. So, and Seahorse Corner said, I want to build my nursery tubs, but was waiting for them to stop breeding so I could get a chance.
It has no time to do
I'm
it.
so jealous. My guys won't have fly. And I'm like, ugh, I got charging now.
I know who that is. But the thing is, the difference is whether it be a nursery tank, a grow out tank, or an adult tank. If you have the right overflows and the right protection and the right drainage, you can put them on a large sump, which will accommodate. I'm running skimmers that are rated for 180 gallons. Those are some big skimmers on every single system. I'm running K1 media reactors. I'm running large filter socks on each system. Each sump I built myself, and the baffles are wide enough that I can fit a ton of rubble rock in the baffles, which gives me a continuous flush, so I don't get a buildup of detritus in there. And then now we're moving to the pump section. Some of my pumps are rated, let's put it this way: it would blow most fish out of the water. Some of the pumps,
Right.
You put them in a pond.
Yeah, but they're pond pumps, some of them. But it's one of those things where, after this many years, I know exactly what I want,
Yep.
and I'm real picky anymore.
Yep.
Mhm.
So basically, guys, if you want to do it perfect from the start, just message Cheryl. She'll give you the instructions. But if you want to
No,
figure it out by yourself,
I'm not perfect. I'm still continue to change. I still continue to learn.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
for years I had sand bottoms. I would never have had a bare bottom. Guess what? All my tanks are bare bottom
Yep. Yep. And
because I
that's
can see the food. I can siphon it off. I can set up a couple of little power heads to blow it. The way the tanks are set up, the flow is in a particular circular direction. So anytime you feed, you turn the pumps back on. It all collects in one little corner.
yep.
It doesn't go all over the tank, and I'm done.
Exactly. But again, I just have to
Well,
keep
you
saying
learn the longer you're in the hobby what works for you.
exactly. But if
Exactly.
you want to set up a Seahorse tank that looks like the ocean and has sand and has rock and has whatever, nothing wrong with that. I mean, my tank right
No,
now has rock.
I
It doesn't
agree
have
completely.
it,
Look at Heather's tank. Look at
Mhm.
what's
beautiful. Yes.
Susan Hopner's tank and some of the others.
Look
They're
at
beautiful.
Danny's tank. We're going to look at Danny's tank in a minute, and it's amazing. He has
Oh,
300
yeah.
with coral, and we're going to look at it in a minute. But Holly, I wanted to ask you before we did. Actually, first, Ray, first, Holly. How's it going with the rock removal? Everything's still on track?
Oh, the K1's still cycling. I didn't remove any rocks this week. I'm pretty much done. I think I'm going to remove what's left probably all at once, but I'm not getting as much algae growth as I noticed this week. So
Really is the rocks.
I'm just waiting for the K1 to cycle. And then I am going to be using sand. I'm going to buy some fresh live sand when I'm ready, because I do have a goby, in there. He
Right.
likes the sand. So otherwise, I probably would go bare bottom.
Yeah.
But for his benefit, he lives there too. So
You can put some in a baking dish and put the baking dish in. So
yeah,
basically it's bare bottom, but then you
that's
have,
a good idea. And I've
just
been
have a little
thinking
bit for the
about
thing.
that. I've been thinking about
Like a
having a
potty
section of sand and part of it no sand, so that
I've actually put in.
his space and they can have bare bottom. Because Dandy's, honestly, he's starting to scrape himself on the sand.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because of his motor skill problem, he's scooting
right.
along the bottom more. And so he's starting to get scraped up. So I've been thinking, well, how can I do sand for Goby and then bare bottom? And then I was thinking, well, maybe I'll do half sand and then have it. But that's a good idea. So put like a plastic style pan or something in there with
No,
Gobies
you can use a
I
glass
have, yeah,
baking dish that you
or
use.
a glass baking dish.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
if you
I,
want, depending on the size of the tank, you could
Mm.
use one of those, what, 9 by 11 or something, or
I've used that
9.
with,
Hey,
with
Archie
sand.
Reeves, how you doing? And you
a
guys,
good idea.
Put in
this is
dishes with sand in it, specifically to grow macro, certain
Mhm.
types of macro in my tanks to help reduce the phosphates. And
Mhm.
yep.
that is another option, and it doesn't get all over the tank, and
Mhm.
it's easy to pick up and clean out. I've got some nice macro growing right now, but
I've done that with Miracle Mud in a sump. Put it in a container so it was
Mhm.
easier to
exactly.
maintenance because I did Miracle Mud in the sump of my reef tank, and
Mhm.
that after like 2 years, I think it was, it needed
Mhm.
to be replaced, and it was a pain in the you know what. I mean, it
Yeah.
was awful trying to get that stuff out and not have it go everywhere. Big pain. But I'm curious, you guys, because we come up with such good ideas on this channel, and at all the guests, we talk so much about different ways to do things and the best ways to do things, and we always get to the point like Holly's figured out that removing the rock from her sewer system has made the algae maintenance less. And we figure out, sand is easier, or no sand is easier because you can see where the food goes. It
It's
doesn't
easier
get
to
too
clean.
But I was thinking the other day, and see, I want my seahorses to have fry. I miss breeding. I miss having little fries around and caring for them, and all that. I miss
Yeah.
it. I'm a mama bear. But I was looking at my tank and I'm like, if I was a seahorse, I'd hate it in there. It's so basic. It's so boring. Like I miss my 65 gallon was set up with macros, with gorgonians, like Danny's tank that we're getting ready to look at. Look,
Mhm.
I never put coral in. I never put other fish in, but it looked more. It was pretty. I liked looking at it. I feel like they liked hanging in it and being different colors. Holly, by the way, I'm curious to see if they change colors after you remove all the rock. But I just wonder sometimes if, as we get to these sterile tanks that are better for breeding, that are easier to care for seahorses, but where is the fun gone? That's my question.
I don't believe the seahorses give a damn.
Well,
Mine are having a blast right now because, I haven't watched this tank in a while, like I was saying. And so usually when I see them, they're not doing much because they know it's time to eat,
right.
so they're waiting for their food. They're sitting next to the dishes or whatever. But I'm sitting here watching them and they're playing right now. They're really active and it's like seahorse bedtime. It's like evening here, but I have skylights and big windows, so they're getting the evening light in their tank. But they're just having all kinds of fun right now.
Well,
And
I agree.
I'm
I'm sure.
finding eggs. Nobody's doing an egg transfer, but I found eggs in the food dish the other morning. So
Oh
I
my
don't know if I
gosh, in the
wanted an
food
omelet or.
no, that's so
But
gross.
I keep siphoning up eggs. So
Well, at least you're seeing eggs. I didn't even see
we're
those.
trying to court right now. They're chasing each other around, but they're not doing the dance. They're just chasing. So they haven't figured it out yet, but they seem to be having a good time in there.
Well, that's what matters. And I know Ray is right because Heather's fantastic idea of using the larger shower curtain rings as like a swing. I don't know how to. Mine, I stole the idea from Heather. I admit that, and I don't use suction cups because in the all-in-one, I'm just able to clip the edges of the rings on the sides and it works. But on mine, I don't just have a shower curtain ring of rings, like flanked, but I have something coming down from them. Heather might have done that too. I
That's
can't remember.
how I did my display tank. And in there,
Love
they
it.
love it. I have one hanging on each side of one of the food dishes. and they've gotten used to it, and they swing around on them, and they reach in and get their food, and they use them when they're dancing. Now in the grow out tank, I strung them like a garland,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll use it. Sometimes they'll sit on it on their way to somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
they'll stop and rest and look around for where else they want to go, but they don't actually hang on to them or play on them at all. So I was thinking maybe I do like in the display tank, like you were talking about, and have them hang vertically.
well, no, mine. I'm
Yeah.
saying mine. Wait.
One of
Mine
the
is.
things, Kelly,
Hang on,
hold
Cheryl,
on.
hang on a second. Hang on. Mine is both ways. So like I have the
Mhm.
garland, but then I have linked onto that
Yeah,
down. So I have
that's
both.
what I'm thinking about doing.
Horses.
One of the things I would like to mention
Let
is
me
I
finish.
see a lot of
Cheryl,
people.
hang on. Let me finish my sentence. I just wanted to say that mine actually loves sitting on them because the way that it's laid, it's
Mhm.
in the all-in-one. The two returns are right there.
Mhm.
So if they sit on the shower curtain. They're getting their literal shower from the return.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I've seen mine do that once in a
Okay.
great while. I'll
But
see 'em.
hold on a minute, everybody, because one of the things that I see is the shower curtains have big enough holes that they
Mhm.
can hitch to it. They
Mhm.
can go through it and they don't get stuck. I'm
Mhm.
totally opposed to those colored chains because
Mhm.
I've seen more than one seahorse, not in my home, but in other people's homes, lose their lives when they got stuck in there and nobody was there to help them out. And so I'm totally opposed to the chain links, the plastic chain links, but
Mhm.
I see a very nice hitch in those round shower curtain
Mhm.
rods.
Yeah, good point.
And
I
I'm
know,
very
like
serious about
I
this.
never had any problems with the yellow
No.
chains, but
Well, when I was raising the fry, they get to a size, and it's before they're ready to leave home, pretty much. It's right about 3 months or so. They're a size where they go from where they can fit through the chain to where they
Yes.
can't fit through the chain, but
But
they
they get
have to learn that. So there is a size they get where the chains aren't good because yeah, they can get stuck.
because what
But
happens is they
you
get their heads
outgrow
through them.
that. So I think
They,
if
they
you're
still,
paying attention to the
yeah.
seahorse's size, anything is like that. You could just kind of have to be aware of their size and the
Yeah.
sizes of things you have in your tank that they might get stuck in.
yeah,
Well, what happens is
all
They
that,
do.
if they continue to grow, they're going to poke that head through there in that chain. Seahorses do not have a good reverse mechanism.
No,
right.
they
So they're
can't
going to
go
keep
back.
trying to force their way through the chain. And if somebody's not there to rescue them and back them out of there,
Mm-hmm.
you may very well to come home to a dead seahorse because
Mm-hmm.
it's been fighting for 12 hours to try to
Mm-hmm.
get through that darn chain.
Sure. You're
I'm
not wrong,
really,
but I'm just saying I've had, and I'm still here, guys. I'm just dealing with kids, but I've had tanks with the yellow chains that never had a problem. So if you
Yeah,
don't,
I haven't had any problems with
right,
them, but I have had, when they were that size, like Cheryl was saying, they would try to go through, and they were at the age where they just grew a little bit too big. They couldn't fit anymore, but nobody got seriously stuck. I have had them get stuck in fake coral though. Those, those artificial sponges that are from, I think Ocean Aquarium makes them.
mm-hmm.
I till my seahorses got used to them, they got stuck in those things left and right. And luckily, it was pliable, they bend, so I could free them.
yeah,
And now
I've
they've
just,
figured it out. They can't fit through certain
yeah,
parts of them, but it took them a
I've
while
just
to learn.
I've seen more than one seahorse be seriously injured or die with those darn plastic chain things
Mhm,
because they are too narrow once the seahorses get a little bit bigger, and the
mhm.
seahorses do not understand reverse gear.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think they're capable. Well, from Scott watching them one day, he says, I don't think they're capable of going backwards because of the way their fins are set
Yeah,
up.
yeah. The only
And
way they can back,
after that watching, I have never seen them go backwards. I don't think they can. I think he's right.
The only way they can move backwards is to hook their tail and use the
Good.
tail to pull themselves backward.
Yeah, they
That is
can't
not a
swim
normal, yeah,
backwards.
but that is not a normal movement
Yeah.
in a seahorse.
Well,
And
I totally agree with your advice, Cheryl. I'm just saying it brings me back to my very first tank that had so many places that seahorses could get stuck. And I'm just
I
saying, if
have
you're out
get
there,
stuck in all kinds of stuff. I'll tell you what.
I'm not saying they're dummies. Seahorses can do reverse, and I've
I
seen
think
them
what it
do it.
is they're intelligent in some ways, but they lack logic.
Yes, yes. Okay, I'm stuck in here because I stuck my head through it. Now I need to take my tail, wrap it up, and pull myself back out, and I'll be fine. They don't have the thought process
No, they don't
to
have
do that.
logic of
well,
figuring out.
wait a minute. You can't say 1 minute that they know what they're doing and they're so smart about everything and then say they're too stupid. I mean, come on, guys. But
Well, it's
no,
two different things.
yeah, I know it is. And I'm not mocking. I totally think that's great advice. I'm just saying if your tank out there, if you have chains or if you have areas that are possible, if you want to fix it. But I must have had smart seahorses because I never had problems with the chains. It's good advice. I'm
Well,
not saying it's
the way that I fix
and I
things,
want
like
to ask
if I
Ray
need decorations that they get stuck in, I put a plastic plant in the hole.
what?
I plug up, like for instance, I have corals, artificial corals that have like holes that they can potentially get stuck in, but not all of it, parts of it. So what I do is I clip off a piece of a plastic plant and stick it in that hole, and they don't go in there.
Right.
I mean, they could if they really wanted to push and get, but because something's there, they don't realize that they can.
Yeah.
If you make it look like it's blocked, they won't go in there.
I've seen the same kind of behavior in pregnant males that used to fit through that hole between the rock and the glass, and then all of a sudden they can't fit through.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow they seem to, maybe it's a maturation issue, I'm not sure what, but I've watched them more than once all of a sudden rise up and then go over the rock to get to where they wanted to
Mm-hmm.
be.
Yeah.
In other words, they're
They
not getting
figure it out.
stuck, but they don't seem to understand getting stuck in those chains, and they really scare me. I've seen too many problems.
So basically, guys, and the reason that people advise the yellow chains is to color up the seahorses, and the shower curtains I use are clear. So somebody out there needs to find some shower curtains that are yellow. That's what we need to do. And Tyann said,
Orange.
or orange, right? Tyann said she put her Robert King clownfish char chamber in on 5-day-old clownfish babies. Tyann, tell me more, or jump in if you want to. Tell me, was the tank cycled, or is that it? Is that the only filtration you're using? Let me know, because that's interesting. And we got to give Ray a chance to talk. We ladies fight over talking because we love to talk so much, and then poor Ray just sits there. Ray,
I don't have anything to say right now.
I know, but I have a question for you, Ray. Jeez.
Okay.
In your tanks, did you use overflow boxes, or were they drilled, or what did you do?
I've got both.
Both? Which do you prefer and why?
I prefer the drilled. And most of my tanks were all drilled. My 90s, my 65s, 55s. Yeah, all the bigger tanks were drilled. I took them to a glass place here. They charged me $15 a hole, and I had them drilled. And then I took ABS fittings and made connections to put into it instead of buying these bulkhead connectors that they want an arm and a leg for. And the way all the bulkhead connectors I ever saw wasted a lot of space. They had a small hole and a great big large connector. So I found ways to make something out of ABS just siliconed them into place, but it was actually a threaded portion on both sides. And then just to be a safety seal, I put silicone around, but it was held in place just by threading the ABS up, and then use ABS pipes to go down to the sump and for the return and so on. Then I use PVC for going from the pump back up into the tank again.
Well, for everyone who comments that Ray never gets to talk, I shut everybody up and let him talk. And speaking of doing, making things work on your own, RG Reef just commented, get somebody to 3D print the color rings you want. Do you 3D print, RG? Because Harkins, I haven't talked to him forever. He was my 3D printer. So that's a good idea, though. That really is, because, I mean, somebody should make those. Since,
You can print all kinds of stuff for them, if you're able to do that.
If you're able to make the yellow shower curtain rings,
make Seahorse furniture.
Yeah.
The thing is,
Wouldn't that be cool? Make some chairs for them and stuff.
And the beauty of the shower curtain rings is they're nice and big, and virtually any seahorse just about will be able to fit through there without ever getting stuck in it. And it's a safety thing for them.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's a great idea to have it 3D printed bigger, like that's awesome. I love that suggestion. Now we just got to decide who the printer will be. And Tyann said the clownfish babies are in a standalone tank. I start with freshly made salt water. On day 5, add the RKC char chamber. There's an air stone in there from the hatch. Wow. Well, I'm going to have to play with this. I can't wait to play with this. In case you're just joining, guys, I got my char chambers today. Thank you again to Kevin and Robert King's Clownfish. Definitely we'll put a link. They're very cool. We already love AquaChart. I'm not going to go through the spiel again, but I got them. I'm excited. Yay. Okay. And I'm sorry, Ray, if I cut you off. Yours were drilled back in 1993. Some of these folks have been doing seahorses for a long time. And you did reefs too, right?
Well, when I drilled them, it was for reefs at that time. All my seahorse tanks that, like the abs were in the 90-gallon drill, the 40-gallon tanks all had overflows. I built overflows out of 1-inch PVC piping. And I also had 2 that I picked up used, just store-bought type of thing. No, one was store-bought and one was made by a custom-made unit that a reef person had somebody do, but it wasn't a store-bought one. But as a matter of fact, the reef one is, or the custom-made one is on this tank right here that I had the barbs in. And now that I have the abs in the 40-gallon tank downstairs, they have the store-bought overflow on it. But I don't really have problems with air getting in the tubes. Once you find the right way to set it up, then there's little problem. And if you do have a problem, I just have a length of silicone line. I turn the return pump off so the flow stops, and then I shove the air line up so that the tip is up in the top there, and then suck the air out, and away I go again.
Yeah, I know, but I hate doing that.
Very seldom I ever have to do that, though.
I do mine very rarely. Do I ever have to do that? Maybe once a month or two. Every once in a while, watch because I see it in the box. I don't have the tubes. Mine's like a box shape, but I watch, and if I get like a little air, I'll just go and I'll open up the valve and suck the air out and close it up real quick and good to go again.
Well, I really opened up a can of worms.
In my case, I had the U-tubes that were literally, there wasn't a valve, there wasn't anything. I'd have to stick airline up there. Mm-hmm. And please don't do this at home, but literally suck the air out myself, which was terrible, awful. Don't do it. Had a mouth
long enough airline.
But well, the
If
bubbles
you got
were
a long enough airline, you never
right.
suck water.
What I was I know you're right. You have to have a lot of airline. But my question was, I'm absolutely convinced that my problem was the flow rate. That the flow was not the flow rate from the pump was either higher or lower than what could be handled by the YouTube. In fact, eventually what I think Cheryl suggested, and I ended up doing all these years ago, is adding a second YouTube. And then I stopped having the air problem. It was something to do with the flow being stronger than what the box could handle. So anyways, overflow boxes suck. And
I
Tyann,
do
I
have
see,
2 boxes. Remember, maybe that's why, because remember I had the discussion with you guys about how much I need to keep up with how much I need to turn the tank over. I think it was Chris Carey said get 2 overflow boxes and that'll
yep.
fix that. So that's
I
what
think
I
it's a
have.
flow
I
too.
don't
Anyway,
use overflow boxes
you're having
anymore.
trouble, if you're having trouble with overflow boxes and you can't go out and drill a tank, just try to adjust the flow. Maybe see if that helps, or add another YouTube, add another box, whatever. And Heather said, "Oh, okay, Ray, maybe it's inflation. It's gone up. I've only been
Yeah.
in the house for 3 years." And I just wanted to really say really quickly, Tyann, I see Robert King's watching. Again, I keep shouting out the jar chambers. I don't know why he can't comment, but I'm so excited to play with them, and I'm going to absolutely give reviews, which I'm assuming will be good because I already love Aquachart. And this is genius. We talked about it from the start. And you said that Tank Talk with Tyann was fantastic last night, and I am ticked at myself for missing it. I'm so sorry, but I will be at the next one. And I'm sure it was. What'd you guys talk about? Did I miss the feeding? I missed the feeding, didn't I? Anyways, okay. Now I'm done going on about that. And then
That
RG.
was Thursday, I think. Thursday we talked about feeding because I did see that one.
I've had a really good week. But and RG Reef said I can 3D print, but takes forever since I only have one printer. No, I hear you, but if you ever feel like it, we all buy it. I guarantee
it's hard to beat $1 for a thing of shower curtain rings.
I mean, right.
I think the plastic for the 3D printer costs more.
Yeah, but think about it. The whole
plastic coat paint and spray them. The plastic coat
Yeah.
brand is the kind that I use on the corals that I paint.
Yeah.
Wait. I missed the first part. I was talking. I apologize. Ray, what kind of paint can you use that you can stick into the saltwater?
The brand name is Plastic Coat. I don't know whether you get it down there in the States or not.
I'm putting it
It's
in the
not
comments.
it's not very common here in Canada anymore. It used to be really popular, but now there's only one hardware chain that is carrying it that I know of. But it has nice coloration, and the thing I like about it best is it really adheres. You can put it on the tank glass and it stays on. You can spray it on these corals and holds much better than any other brand I ever had.
Wow. And I'm curious if the clownfish folks, do you guys use ornaments or whatever? Well, I guess not with clownfish to color them up, but I just think that it would be worth it still, whether it's 3D printed or painted, if someone were to do that and sell them, because the fact of the matter is, we talk all the time about how seahorses, many, not all, but many will change colors based on their surroundings. And Tyann, rotifers was the subject. Now I'm really bummed because that's one of those cross-reference things that we would have loved to hear. Tell us more about it if you feel like it. Let us know. And RG Reef said, oh, wait.
Krylon.
Krylon and Pasta Dip. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen Krylon paint before. My husband uses it.
But Holly, apparently Cheryl and Ray left us for a second. But can you paint the shower curtain rings? I don't know how it works.
You can paint anything. You just have to make sure the paint is, marine safe. If it's plastic, like plastic coat, he says, I imagine that's it's plastic. When it dries, it's safe. But you can probably read the can and see if it says if it's marine safe or,
Mm-hmm.
But I think different ones. Yeah, Krylon, I think that's a plastic coat paint. I think my husband uses it for his car stuff sometimes.
Okay, I'm coming back to Robert's comment a second because Heather
and
said
plastic dip. Yeah.
Yep. And she has sprayed the overflow with it. Ace Hardware sells it. Thank you.
Ace Hardware has it.
See,
Yeah.
I know nothing, obviously. And just back really quickly to the jar chambers. I'm so freaking excited. I mean, and Robert, I'm probably gonna bug you because I know you told us, or I'll go back and watch the episode where you joined us because I'm trying to remember how it unscrews. I don't want to screw it up. Like I just wanted to, oh, look at that. That's how it unscrews, but you don't want to mess with the okay. And see all the beautiful aquachar in there. Woo! So excited. And okay, I don't want to ruin it live while we're sitting. Oh, and there's a sponge up top to stop the aquachar from escaping. That is so cool. I just love your design. And Robert said he managed to cycle a 40-gallon tank in 17 days with the char chamber. And that's without ammonia and without bacteria. I'm curious because I asked, and tell your followers too also that I want to know what they would like to see me play with, like, you know, how they would like me to use these char chambers that were so nicely given to test, to show them what they could do with it. So any suggestions are welcome. And I know I'm jumping around, guys, but sorry. Anyways, go ahead.
So I
Why
have a
does
quick
my-
question
I told
for
her-
the clownfish people. How long does it take you to raise the baby clownfish to adult? I mean, from the time they're born? Remember, I was wondering that the other
Yes.
week. They weren't here. Yeah, because it takes
So-
us. I consider it about 5 months when my seahorses are about teenagers, roughly 4 or 5 months.
Yep.
Just wondering, other fish. I've never raised any other kind of fish, so
Yeah, no, clownfish folks. Robert is the king.
yeah.
And
I want to see it
Diane is
grow
the
up.
queen. And Daniel's here. Good, Daniel, because I'm about to play your video here in a few minutes. But clownfish folks, let us know, how long does it take to raise clown babies to adult or to teen?
I put the plastic code link on Facebook, but it doesn't show up here on the panel here for some reason.
Send it to me in private chat and I can put it up if
Okay.
you would. And then let's see what else. Unseated char chamber. That's the unseated char chamber. That's what I'm saying, man. I wish I had Fry right now so that I could, and I would, because I know that I could save it if something went wrong. But I'd love to do that testing. My dang seahorses won't have babies. I'm so sick of them. Smack 'em around. Just kidding. But okay. All right, let me get this from Ray real quick. Here's his link.
Oh, I
Actually,
see. She says
the
males can
females don't
breed
have
at
to be
4
year
months, females 1 year old. So the
No.
boys grow up faster.
The males will typically start courting somewhere between 4 to 6 months of age. If there's a larger male in there, they're not going to have a whole lot of success. The females typically grow a little slower, but again, they are more than capable of producing eggs by 4 to 5 months of age. And I've had it happen in more than one tank where I've had a very young pair that I raised. I knew exactly how old they were. They were actually completing egg transfers and producing fry at 5 to 6 months of age. And they were a month apart in age, so it was not a big difference. The other thing is they did it always, when they made it, they always went and hid behind the rocks because the big adult male in that tank would have busted his proverbial balls for courting a female in his tank. So
Right.
it's one of those things. It depends on the seahorses. And these were all seahorses I raised myself, and so I knew them pretty darn well. But it was really this was the pair. Well, actually, I had a pair. They danced for weeks, every day, all day long, male female pair. Got up one morning. The male is on the right side of the tank. I finally find what was the female. Female is on the other side of the tank and now has a pouch.
Oh, I was gonna say that. You know what? That's what I was gonna. That's so funny you just said that, Cheryl. Because my question for the clownfish people is, if you have two females because I need to learn more about clownfish. Please educate me.
Yeah, I don't
Because
know anything about
they're
it either.
typically clownfish, or they're typically female. Like when you buy them at a store, all I know is I personally had 2 females. I don't know how to sex a clownfish. I would love to learn. Teach me. But I know the person that I bought them from said they were 2 females. And eventually, after about, well, they grew up, I don't know how long, but eventually, all of a sudden, they were territorial and aggressive and killing other fish. And I'm like, what the hell? And then I learned that one of the females had turned into a male in order
Yes.
to
Yeah.
procreate. And I'm like,
That's normal.
seahorses do that too. How in the
Yeah.
hell are fish doing that?
Well, it's not so much necessarily in the case of clownfish. Um,
Wait,
whoever's bigger is a
before you
female
wait,
usually.
hang on. Before you explain tie-in, I don't know why YouTube moderator put you in time. I do use bots, so it wasn't me. I promise. I would never put you in timeout. Now go ahead, Cheryl, and then we'll.
I was just going to say with clowns, usually one gets bigger than the other, and the biggest one is always the female. And trust me, they will draw blood on you when you try to clean their tank. Been there, done that. Not fun. They're very aggressive.
But they get aggressive once they're trying to protect their eggs. I mean, and
Yeah.
I just
Well,
it was amazing to me that
They
my
don't even
female.
have to have eggs. They don't even have to have another one in the tank.
I mean, I know that that's advice. I know that that's advice for seahorse people. Don't keep clownfish with seahorses. I agree. But in my case, my personal experience, my 2 clownfish were nice little healthy.
If they were nice,
sweet-
they were babies.
I mean, and maybe
If
That's-
they were nice, they were
that's my
babies.
question to Tyann and Robert. Why can males turn into females? Why do females turn into males? Why does that happen? Is it to procreate, or sorry, I'm rambling. I'm trying to do 5 things at once. But what I was saying is, mine were nice, sweet, never picked on another fish, never were territorial. They were just sweet little clownfish. And then the second that I saw them start pecking and doing the things that I've seen or learned were showing that they were trying to lay eggs, man, they tore a fish in half. The female did. So is it just eggs or is it just age? Like when they get older, do they get mean or, curious. Go ahead, Cheryl.
The pair that I had that started attacking my hand were actually came in with a used tank that I bought. And they weren't huge, but they were already sexually differentiated. You can see the difference in the larger female. And they started to spawn. And when they started to spawn, they were attacking my hand. This is when I started using the 12cc syringe and squirting them with a jet of water anytime they came near my hand. It was the only way to keep them drawing blood on me. And they figured out if you don't go after the hand doesn't squirt you. So we finally had a nice copacetic relationship. But
Right.
it wasn't something that I
But
would
were they-
necessarily advise.
What were they like that? The clownfish, were clownfish mean from the very start when you got them?
No,
Because Tyann,
they were
not-
typical young little clowns.
but she made another comment. It does depend on the species. Excuse me.
Oh,
We see
yeah.
that in the Seahorse world too.
Maroons.
Seahorse
Yeah,
species.
maroons are very aggressive. These were just false perks. These aren't one of the more aggressive species. I had a friend of mine who used to own a store and do a lot of breeding of clowns. Took in a friend of hers, and he had some. I mean, I'm talking clowns that are the 3+ inch range. I mean, these were huge. And she agreed to take care of him because he was being deployed. And there was one female. They had to keep them all separated. He had multiple pairs. And there was one female. You could walk within 5 feet of the tank she was in, and she was attacking the glass trying to get to you.
Wow.
I mean, I'm talking some really, but these were extremely large clowns.
Okay,
And
now wait. Go ahead.
They were
Go ahead.
also in their prime.
I was going to ask, anybody had a seahorse like that? I'm raising my hand. You can't see me, but I am.
I've never had a seahorse attack me. I
No,
have seen seahorses attack each other during the
Mhm.
courtship process.
I've seen them fight each other, but not me.
Right. No, I agree with that. No seahorses ever fought me because that's the hand that feeds them. Apparently, cows don't get that. But no, I've told you guys before. I had a bachelor pad where I had 3 male seahorses that just could not get along. It wasn't during breeding process. It wasn't during anything. They were a-holes and they just snicked, bit, or I guess they don't
Snick,
bite, but
they snick
snicked,
each other.
snicked, wrestled,
Yeah.
constantly on seahorses' heads, pushing them around, and they ended up in the same tank together, and they all 3 got along. Just
My favorite was a female hippocampus combs, and she was dancing with her mate. They'd already produced fry. And another male came in, and he was a good size. This was in a 65-gallon tank, and he started to try to court her. She grabbed her tail around his body, threw him on the ground, and pinned him to the substrate.
wow.
I'm talking a female did this. And I
Yep.
sat there going, oh my God.
She'd
See, when
had
I hear
enough.
stories like that, I'm shocked because I've never, in all the batches and species and everything that I've never had a female that was so aggressive. It's always the male in my
I've
case.
had them get mad and frustrated and snick the male or drag him somewhere or wrap
Yeah.
their tail around his head or his snout. Or
This
I've
was
seen that.
this was the most aggressive act I have ever seen a female seahorse do. I mean,
Well, it's
she
funny because
was
sorry.
she just grabbed him and pinned him.
Wow. Well, and it's funny too because with clownfish, correct me if I'm wrong, Tyann or Robert, but it's the females that are aggressive. That's so funny to
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly with clowns.
Okay, guys, while Daniel's here, I want to show the video that he shared with me. And actually, he did mention that seahorse has been like that since Christmas. So if you didn't join last week, we're talking about the seahorse that has not just a I don't know why I'm echoing. Not just a very big pouch, but also a very big like build. His whole stomach build is very large, round. And we discussed last week that he just seems to be a fat boy, which is a positive term, not a negative. We're proud of him. But then Daniel told me he's been like that since Christmas. He didn't arrive like that. He did have babies. By the way, all of the Erectus except for 5 hybrid Brazilian Erectus. So they're all in his tank. They're all Erectus or hybrids. And he had babies 2 months ago. And then he apparently got fat, right? So here, let me try to share this video.
Dead silence.
I'm sorry, guys. It's telling me I have to allow
Hello,
something.
darkness, smile a friend.
I'm on a
Come
different
to talk with
computer.
you again in a vision that is softly creeping. Left the
Okay,
sea.
Cheryl, stop. Stop, stop, stop. Stop, really. Okay, here we go. All right. I don't know if I can start it over. Here we go. All right, now you guys can see. Look at this tank. My God, that's beautiful. But it
Again
shows
on the snake.
seahorse at the end. Look at all those seahorses, man. And Danny, if you're still here, I want to know what fish you have with them because we've always said don't put coral and fish with seahorses. But the caveat is if you have a big enough tank, you
Yeah.
can't. Beautiful.
It also depends on the species. You haven't lived until you've seen engines go at each other.
Right. But I mean, like he's obviously target feeding, I'm seeing. Or oh, that's live food. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
I don't know why. But that is that a wrasse? No. What is that? That's it, Danny. We need you to join us. You need to come with us live and tell us all about your tank because it's absolutely amazing.
I think he posted a video like this earlier on Facebook.
Maybe, probably.
Maybe a different tank, but I don't think so.
I just want to see the boy at the end. He said at the end it shows the boy. Let's see. But look at that, man. I want a list of all the coral in the tank, all the different species. Or well, we know the species, but the fish. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I
but
wonder,
when you look at this tank, there's gorgs, there's mushrooms, there's a lot of softies in there, and
Yep.
that's something you need to think in terms of when you're keeping seahorses. You really don't want to get into the stonies with them.
Of course, you're right, and I agree. Anything that stings, anything like that. But I saw it's either a Welso, but I mean the seahorse is sitting on it. That's not an egg can. It's got to be like a brain coral or whatever, or not brain. I can't think of a name. Dang it! But
It looks like there's some leathers in there too. Maybe some leathers.
absolutely, that's it, Danny. We need you to join us and come in and tell us all about your tank because we love it. And again, anybody watching this in the future, this is a 300-gallon tank. So, I mean, you can't
Yeah.
off in a 30.
Well, I'm looking at the corals, and there's some really beautiful softies in there.
Absolutely. And I was also thinking, Cheryl, Ray, Holly, anybody, that the more I feel like if when you have more seahorses, you have to have the space to accommodate them and feed them, bigger
Mhm.
tank. But when you have more seahorses, I just feel like not only can you get away with coral and other fish and stuff, but they're just more confident. You know what I mean? They're more confident and they don't scare as easily. Am I crazy? Do you guys agree? Ray, what do you think?
Oh, I don't have an opinion on it really.
I'm trying to figure out what the kind of light green. It looks like a softie right there in the video. I'm trying to figure out is that a Plaunephthia? I can't tell with the lighting.
I had an F the same color.
Yep. I can never remember the names. That just you guys kill me with these names. Pyronepthia, you know, better than me. I can't remember them. But the seahorses are gorgeous. I mean, look, that one's orange. That's an erectus, or is it a hybrid? I'm curious. Or also, my next question, like I said, Danny, you need to just jump in here with us one week. But is it the lighting? Are they actually yellow and it's in blue light? Or tell us all about it because it is a beautiful tank. I'm waiting for us to see the big male. And at the end of this video, if it doesn't, we'll go to the other video of it.
I already
I
saw
saw
it.
him earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah, it showed him. Mm-hmm.
right center of the screen.
Is that a damsel in that tank?
Maybe you can get away with it with that many
Yeah,
gallons.
see, there he is,
There he is
Kelly.
again.
See?
Yeah. So you
Yeah,
guys,
yeah. I mean, you could.
but does your opinion change? Because the entire point is last week we discussed it and we decided that was just a genetic thing or that's just the way he was. It was no big deal. He's still healthy. But then we learned from Danny that he didn't come like that. When Danny got him, or Daniel, sorry, got the seahorse, he wasn't like that. He got pregnant, had fry, and then his whole stomach
Well, I
area.
have a comment on that.
Go ahead.
I didn't get to be the size I am now until I was in my 50s. So it wasn't a case of like the genetics. I was predisposed to end up the way I am because of genetics, but it wasn't that way to start with. And my kids were the same way.
I was going to say, I'll agree with you on that. I wasn't the same person I was after I had babies. I guess the male has an excuse, but have you guys ever seen that before where a male literally like not just the pouch, but his stomach also gets large?
Only on ads.
Only on abs. Huh.
Mhm.
Do you have a lot of mushrooms in this tank?
He's not in here, so we got to wait for a comment. But um, either way, it is a beautiful tank. Hopefully, I can talk Daniel into coming in with us live one week, and we can quiz him while we watch his beautiful tank and seahorses and learn more. Because look at them, man, they look so happy and healthy. That's what I
Mhm.
need about having a tank that's got sand and gorgonians and that kind of thing. If you're
Uh-huh.
able to do a big enough tank, not only is it beautiful and awesome to watch, but I swear the seahorses have so much fun. It's not as much fun to swim around an empty tank with nothing. I'm gonna become a seahorse
With dollar store shower curtain rings.
well, no, I'm gonna become a seahorse advocate and start fighting for their right to party. No, I'm just kidding.
They want some coral.
And Kevin's here too. Hey, I'll start thanking you again in a minute after we get done watching this. Has it gone through twice? I think it has.
It's gone through a few times, yeah.
Okay. Well,
Because there's the big male again.
yeah,
But yeah, I love corals, but I have had coral before and they were kind of a pain in the butt. And that's why I don't do them now. Because I had to measure other stuff in the tank and feed
Right.
them and other stuff to go wrong, and really just taking care of the seahorses are enough for me. And I have the freshwater tank now too. So,
Right. No, I hear you. It's all about whether you want the look and the beauty or if you're breeding or if you want less
mhm.
maintenance. I just think this is all, and it has to be a big
I
tank.
think they're beautiful tanks
Yeah.
like that. That tank is gorgeous.
Yes, it really is. And I want to know more about it. How many seahorses are in there? What's the
Some
maintenance?
corals though can't tolerate the water that seahorses produce. But
Right.
they're
Yeah.
mainly those are the stonies.
I
Yeah.
need
Some
to add pylons to my floor to support that tank.
what, Cheryl?
I need to add a bunch of big, huge pylons on my floor since I live on a crawl space to be able
Oh, yeah.
to support a tank like that.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
that's another thing too, is you got to make sure your house is built for that volume of water.
Truth for sure. But I love seeing a huge tank with tons of seahorses and other things. I think it's
Oh,
gorgeous.
yeah.
All right, I gotta run now.
Okay. Bye, Ray.
Right.
Have a good night, Ray. Good to see
Night.
you.
I'll stop sharing Daniel's video. The main thing I was just wondering is if anybody changed their opinion. Like I know we just covered people change when they have babies and such, but it's just interesting to me that it happened after he had Fry. Like I can't believe his entire front stomach grew. But really quick, Kevin,
How
I
old
got
is he?
hang on, Kevin, I got the char chambers. I talked about it the whole episode. I'm already playing with it. I don't want to ruin it by trying to put it back in as we talk. Yeah, I don't want to ruin it. But I got them. They were packaged wonderfully. I can't wait to play with them. In fact, I'm going to do a post probably tomorrow and ask people what they want to see me do to play with them and see how they work and etc. Like I really want to set up a fry system and try to just use it as the only filtration and see how that goes. But I have two. So let's find out what people want to see me play with. But that sounded weird. You know what I mean. Anyways, okay. What were you saying, Holly? Sorry.
I was just wondering how old that seahorse is, like its age.
True.
Because one thing I did notice, Scrappy Doo, remember one of the seahorses I raged, Scrappy Doo was a tiny thing. And he went to live with the bigger seahorses when he was about the size of their face.
Right.
And he has gotten huge and not as fat as this guy was, but he's getting pretty big. And he didn't really start getting big until I'd say maybe within the last 6 months or so, as he's nearing 2 years old, I think.
Holly, just
Mhm.
wait. He's going to get a lot bigger. One of the males, Jorge Gomez Gerardo from Draco Marine sent me,
Mhm.
was over 10 inches long
Yep, I had a 12 incher.
and oh, well over 2 inches wide. And this
Yeah,
was an
he's
erectus.
he's getting
Yeah.
there because yeah, Dandy's a big seahorse, and I think he is a little bigger than Dandy now. And
Yeah.
Dandy is going on 4 years old. But Scrappy Doo, I mean, he was a small seahorse before because remember he was the only survivor from his batch.
Right.
And he was a little scrap of a thing. That's how he got his name. But last 6 months or so, he's getting big, big.
Remember Dan's words about, well, actually, what you really want to do is wait until the pairs are at least 5 years old before you start harvesting fry from them, because that's where you're going to get the really nice, large, beautiful fry. Because these, by this point, the adults are large, and I have seen more than one male erectus close to. I love it. Erectus grow to 5 to 6 inches. Do you know what BS means?
Right.
They can easily grow to 10 plus inches.
Right, and that's something people should know, but that it's interesting to me because in my 65, when I had my big, huge I mean, he was freaking huge. And then there were males that never got that big. They stayed
Mhm,
5 to 6 inches.
mhm.
My hybrids, I love that he has hybrids because I had two also. They got really big. It just it depends on genetics, it depends on
Mhm.
environment, I bet. But
Yeah.
it was just curious to me that in Daniel's situation, again, the seahorse came normal, had babies. All of a sudden, he grew more out than up, and he's not having any problems. So it's just a unique seahorse. I can't
Yeah.
wait. I hope he has fry. I'd love to see what his fry look like. Not
Mhm.
that you're into breeding, Daniel, but I would still love to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the sea, and I also wonder, do you think that tank size plays a bigger role than we even think? For instance, in the all-in-one, I just feel like they're not growing as fast as seahorses I've had in the past. Then
They're going to
again,
grow. They're going to grow slower because they're in a more confined space.
yeah, I wondered if that was true. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Or also perhaps because they're the same age. Because what I'm noticing in the display tank, when I've moved a seahorse in there, a juvenile, I already had adults. They grew faster, like
Right.
Scrappy Doo and Sadie. They grew, but it's a smaller tank than my grow out tank. And the
Huh.
seahorses in my grow out tank are not getting big like the seahorses in the display tank are.
Really?
They're not growing as fast. They're probably, a good 6 inches, 7 inches, maybe, so they're growing. They're adult seahorses, but they're not getting to be the 8, 9 inches that those
Right.
ones are. And they're not that much younger, because they were all in a row about 8 weeks apart.
So you
So,
think it's age? It's more age
well,
and
I think part of it is being with a bigger seahorse
yeah.
Yes.
makes them grow faster when I move a smaller seahorse, a juvenile in with the big adults, like when Scrappy Doo and when I moved him in with the big seahorses, he grew fast. Like they feel like they need to catch up or something. Like,
Right.
wow, look
Yeah,
how
they
big
do.
these horses
Yeah.
are. I better start eating. I better eat my Wheaties. I don't know, but I noticed that when I put a juvenile in the adult tank, they grow faster than their brothers and sisters that are left behind.
Well, I think in Daniel's case, he just has a unique seahorse, period.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with him. He's not had any repercussions, after having the babies. Why do you think he hasn't had more though? And I'm asking that just in general. Like if you have a seahorse that has fry, in my experience, once they start, they don't stop. So
Yeah, that's hard to say. Well, I've only had the fry that I raised were from one male,
right.
and he was about 8 weeks apart each time. So not the normal 2 or 3 weeks that people say. It was longer for him. It was a couple months in between every time, which was nice for me because it gave me time between the batches.
Right.
But none of my other males have gotten pregnant, other than I think maybe Scrappy Doo, like we had talked about. I think he got pregnant and had a miscarriage one time,
Right.
but I haven't seen him pregnant again.
That's interesting to me too. Like when you have the seahorse, a bunch of seahorses in a tank, the girls do all flock to the big male. They like the big daddy, you know. But I don't know. I don't think anything. I think again, Daniel just has a unique seahorse, and we shall see. I hope he has fry and we can figure it out.
I think my poor little boys in the grow out tank are outnumbered. There's 2 of them and 6 females.
I don't think they mind.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm going to go log off and go to bed. I'm really tired.
Absolutely, Cheryl. In fact, you guys actually, I thank you to everybody in the comment section. If you have any last minute questions, we can answer them next week. Can't wait to play with the char chambers, but I am going to go ahead and end it for this week because I have to pick up my daughter again. But we'll try to be on time next week, and we'll definitely be going to Tank Talk with Tyann this week to ask more about clownfish. So thank you for coming. Hope your week was better than mine. And Holly, let's cheers. Happy Wine Wednesday, everyone.
Happy Wine Wednesday. Cheers.